Hey guys, today we're going to talk about practicing being alone, and it's very important in your spiritual journey to practice being alone because it's a greater lesson that you will experience in your life just by being alone, because being alone is really tough, and practicing being alone is really key in order for you to understand your true self, in order to understand your energies, in order to understand more about universe and existence. So practicing being alone is really important, and I've been trying to do that. So one of the things I did is I have friends and dear ones in Boston, so I decided to travel to Florida to experience being alone and practicing being alone and testing myself in my spiritual path on a deeper level. And I choose Florida because I don't know anyone, and also it's very close to nature, and it's sunshine state. It's very spiritual, and that's why I choose Florida. So one of the things that you need to understand when you practice being alone is you are attached to the crowd, you're attached to your family, you're attached to your friends. So you have been programmed yourself, or you have been programmed your whole life being to the crowd. So it's really tough for you to be by yourself. So first you need to understand that, and once you understand that, you'll understand when you practice being alone. You'll understand that it can really make you low. It can be boring, it can be frustrating initially, but once you start to practice this experience of being alone, and slowly what will happen is you will kind of get accustomed to be alone. And also once you start to do good practices of being in nature and being very bonded with nature, you'll experience happiness within yourself just by yourself, which means that, so one of the things I've been doing is, like, going into nature, running in nature, practicing breathing techniques in nature, bonding with sun, bonding with water, being in ocean, just by myself. And I could do that on a certain scale, but also I met a lot of friends here because sometimes I felt like I wanted to meet some spiritual people, some powerful people, so I used to go out and to the meetup. So I met some friends, I made some friends here, but I was able to practice being alone and being happy. And there's sometimes where I'll be low, but I understood this is the process I have to go through so that I'll be happy no matter I'm surrounded with people, no matter I'm just by myself. So one of the things that you need to understand is, once you start to practice being alone, it can be frustrating, you can come low, it can be boring, you can feel like very down, but once you understand why you're doing this process, once you understand happiness with or without being surrounded with people is very key in your life. And also I went to this monastery where the guy was preaching about Buddha being under a tree, sleeping under a tree, just being happy. So one of the things I learned from that preaching was Buddha can do that only because he's happy no matter wherever he is. And for you to experience that, you need to go in this journey of experiencing just being alone by yourself, and which is very key in your life, to experience happiness just by yourself. But it's going to be a true test. And one of the things I understood is, like, by practicing being alone, one of the true tests I'm facing right now is, even though I met few people, they became very close to me because most of them were spiritual. And some of the things I came across is like, you know all the conversation that we went through, it comes into my mind. And and I also learned that I'm attached to my phone. And also I also understood that it can be very boring being by myself, and also sometimes it can take you low. But I understood this is a process, so as I am going through this process, I am getting more bonded to the nature. I'm being more happy. But there are some situation, if you take the whole 24 hours, there might be an hour or half an hour, not every day, but maybe once or twice in a week, where I feel like I'm really, really low. But I understood this is the process that I have to go through, and I have to swim through this process of being alone and being bored and being low. So I have to swim through that, so that one day or at certain point in my life, I'll be happy no matter what. And once you reach that state, you can actually practice, maybe going into a monastery. And be careful where you go, because I don't like going to the monastery because it's structural. There's someone above you and someone who is higher than you. There's a hierarchy, so that's why I don't like going to the monastery. But I want to go to a place where I can practice detachment on a whole new level, where I'm not attached to anything. But I'll be doing, at one point in my life, once I practice being alone. And once I practice being alone, whenever, this situation coming to Florida is myself putting into a situation where I can be by myself, not attached to anyone, and practice being alone. Just this is one of the things that you can do in your life, where you can slowly build up yourself practicing being alone, where at certain point of your life you can jump, going to a forest, maybe for a month, 2 months, maybe even for a year, where there might be some ashram, or where that there might be a monastery in a forest, and you can practice just being alone by yourself. But before you reach there, before you jump totally, getting away from everything, you can simply practice going to a different state, or going to a place where you don't know anyone. And you can actually practice being alone, and also meet people here and there, but mostly practice being alone. And once you do that on a smaller scale, then you can jump into a deeper level of being alone, and going into a monastery or going to a forest, just being detached from everything. And you can practice uh, those higher methods of being alone. And being alone is key, because you will test your true self. Can you be happy just by yourself, or you're attached to the crowd, you're attached to that distraction, you need someone to be happy. So that's why you need to practice just being alone and being happy. So the bottom line is, you need to practice being alone on a smaller scale, where you go to a nearby place or nearby town where you don't know anyone, and you can meet some people, and you can mingle with people here and there. But you are practicing being alone. That's a smaller scale of test. And bigger scale of test, you can actually go to a forest or a monastery, where you can detach from everything for a year. So when you go to a forest, there might be a monastery in a forest, so you can try that. You can just sign up yourself to a monastery and just detach from everything for a year, and just test your true self. Detaching from phone, detaching from people, detaching from the crowd, detaching from family, and what you experience might be on a greater level. It's something like fasting. It's something like you know taking the toxins out of your system, or just not eating that food, not craving for that food, you know and maybe you might want to fast from the crowd that you're surrounded with and detach from everything, and see, just detox yourself from all the attachments that you have, and kind of know yourself on a deeper level. Because when you're attached to the crowd, it's always what they are feeding into your mind, and once you kind of detach from that, you can know your true self. So that's why you need to practice being alone. And this is what I vision today, this is my thoughts today, and this is what I'm experiencing today. That's why I'm sharing this, and this is a very deep information, and hopefully this really helps you. Thank you and have a blessed day.